You're tuned in to Jollof Now on Radio Now 95.3 FM. My name is Doris, and I have with me in the studio one of the Big Brother Titan housemate, Jaypee. I swear, that's how I always say it.
I feel like you lack the ability to say that name and keep a straight face. You are bound to laugh every time you say that name like
funny.
that.
It's funny, but that's how I want to say the name every time. Jaypee. It's like a rap thing. Do you get? But I'm curious though, what does Jaypee stand for?
My full name is Jaypee. It's a Yoruba name. It means
so
Jesus is with me. Thank you.
That's so cute.
So the J is from Jesu and the P is from Pelumi. And I just spice it up with the AY and the EE.
Right.
You know, a little bit of something.
Like,
just a dash, just a sprinkle.
All right, let's get right into this interview. So my first question is, have you ever auditioned for Big Brother Naija before?
Have I ever eaten rice?
Wait, what? How many times did you audition?
5 times.
No way.
I'm like, you know what? If I audition this time, I don't get in. It's over.
And you did.
And I got in.
And this time around, it wasn't just Big Brother Naija. It was like
Titan.
2 giants.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
did a good one there.
Thank you.
Okay, so, I mean, since you've auditioned for Big Brother Naija, you obviously would have watched Big Brother Naija. How would you say Big Brother Naija is different from Big Brother Titans?
Well, for starters, we had 2 different countries in there. Second, we were not allowed to speak our native languages. Like, they were pretty strict with that. 3, the sense of respect, of respecting your fellow housemates was very, it was very paramount. It was extreme. It was something I needed to consciously remember every time. Like, I couldn't even crack jokes because I was scared that I was going to say something that would come off as, you know, if you say you're mad for Nigeria, we know that you're probably just teasing me or something. She's only mad, mad. But if I say it out there, I'm like, bro, this is another country. Nigerians are on a different level.
Our cruise level is like 100.
You get it. So it was mostly those little things. But otherwise, I think it was pretty much the same thing. What they did was they fused Big Brother Naija with Big Brother Mzansi together. So we could still feel all of the things that were Nigerian in there. Maybe just the music, the food, just the basics. But for the show itself, it was still very much like Big Brother Naija. Okay. Just music, food, the occasional things, how we talk to each other and stuff, really things that were different.
Right. So how was your reaction when you got the call that you were going to the house?
So we didn't get a call.
No.
Up until I went into the house, I don't think there was a confirmation that you made it into the house. So I think that I'm the only person who didn't get to bask in the mind-blowing thing. Oh my God, I made it! Because I'm telling you, up until I climbed that stage, I didn't know that I had made it into the house.
Wait, so how did they move you from? Because I know they
they just tell you, and well, this is the next stage, this is the next stage, this is the next stage.
You are lying.
That's what it is. So I didn't bask in. I kept telling my mommy, I might not climb that stage. Oh, mommy, keep praying until you see me on the 15th. Don't stop praying. So I didn't really bask in it. I mean, you have an idea. You think, if I've gotten to this point, there are different stages. I can't really delve into it. But at some point, you know, nah, I've made it. I can't get this far. But my mom always says that I'm very pessimistic. I like to think that I'm realistic.
Right.
I'm like, mommy, people can go there and they'll sit to them to go back home.
It has happened. Yeah, it has.
So yeah, so I didn't really, personally, I didn't bask in it. I was still worried. I was just freaking out.
But wait, Jaypee, hold on, first of all. So, but when you were near, like, a few meters away from the stage, of course you knew that it was time.
I genuinely, I can't say how I felt.
Right.
I kept saying that I needed to be on the outside to understand how I was feeling. Like, I needed to be amongst my friends and I needed to see everybody's reaction. I needed to see them going, oh my God, Jaypee! But it was just me. So I'm like, you guys, I need to be seeing your face right now to know, to like really understand the depth of this thing. Because now it's just me and a bunch of other new housemates. And everybody just excited, oh my God. And then for like the first 3 days, I didn't think I was in Big Brother's house. For like the first 3 days, I'm like, wait, so cameras are on us.
Like, pinch me.
So sometimes I just like, wait, did my mom just see that? Oh, and then I wait something. I'm like, oh my God, wait, like my boss at work. Did you see that thing? So I don't feel like it dawned on me, but after a while, it started to dawn on me, and I'm like, bro, this is amazing. Like, I actually climbed the stage where the entire Africa got to see me.
Right.
So it's like, no matter how tough things get, I'm just like, nah, you did a thing, girl.
You did a thing, girl. You did do a thing. And this is why you say period per.
You know, period per.
Okay, so getting into the house, or, you know, when the stages started and you knew to an extent that I might be going into the house, did you actually put yourself together and say, this would be my strategy? Did you have a strategy going into the house?
No, Jaypee did not have a strategy. I remember that I said that a lot. Because I've always known the show to have a million twists. So I'm like, knowing these people joining two countries together, they are going to be twists every freaking week. Right. I don't even think that my strategy can cut this thing. Yeah. Like, I don't think it can. I mean, like when they brought up the pairing, like whatever strategy I had would have just died at that point. Also, I want to be an actor in real life, yeah. Okay. But I can't act my life. So maybe certain things about me are going to be increased, maybe certain things are going to be reduced. But however, most of my things would not be a strategy. I'm just going to figure out along the way what to do and what not to do. So
even when you got into the house and then you got, like you said, for the first 3 days, you're like, what's going on? What's going on? And then you started seeing other housemates. Was there any time during the show when you're like, okay, maybe I don't have a strategy, or maybe I did not have a strategy, but you know what? I gotta get me some. Was there any point when you decided? Okay.
For example, when the new housemates were...
When they walked in during the party.
Well. Shit just got real. Pardon my language. I'm like, sorry, say what now? Because when we got into the house, everybody was saying, do you think we might have new housemates? I'm like, no, it's the first season. Why would they bring in new housemates? I'm sure they are just trying to be, they're going to have to try to just keep us the way we are. It's a test run. They won't introduce new. I was so confident. And then I just said, doo-doo. I just saw them walking and I'm like, okay, girl, you need to kick things up a notch. And then when I saw that I seemed to be the only Nigerian girl who was not dressing up, I'm like, okay, Jaypee, you need to do something different. You need to, and then when we were paired, I wasn't really keen on a strategy, but my partner was all strategy filled. Looky, I'll come back to you because I still think that we should have just stuck with me and not had a strategy because see
where it
took us to now.
Right. I'm gonna talk about pairing, by the way. Okay, so now that you're out of the house, what misconceptions would you like to change about Jaypee? Like I'm sure you've seen clips now and you're like, they caught this on camera. Oh wow, I didn't know that they caught this on camera.
Yeah. Okay, one, that I am loud is not a misconception because I am loud. I can't deny that. But it doesn't come from a bad place, right? I grew up with, okay, let me start with the fact that, this one, that I don't get along with the female species. So I don't have anything against the female species. I have a bunch of female friends. However, I grew up with 6 elder brothers. I had no female influence in my life. 0. It was just 6 boys. Mad. So I mean, if I spend my entire childhood with them, there's no way that I grew up learning how to vibe with guys. Right. And then as soon as I went to boarding house, because I was close to guys, I just, got close to talking to guys in boarding house. And then I went to nursing school and it just continued. I became an adult when I realized, oh my God, I don't know what to talk about when I'm with girls. I don't know this fashion thing. I don't know. I was just so used to being amongst guys. So that's one thing. I don't have anything against the female species. I love girls, but I just realized that because I grew up with a bunch of brothers, I don't know how to act around females. And then the fact that I am loud, I grew up with a bunch of brothers. They were always rowdy. They went to boarding school. They would just always push me to one side. And I was so tiny, I was thin. So I always saw the need to shout.
To get heard.
Hear me. This is what me too, I'm seeing. All of that. And then they trained me to be tough. They would always tell me street is tough. You can't be soft. What are you doing? You want to be doing soft? Girl, no, you have to learn how to fight. But those that told me that even if you cannot fight, just shout at somebody. They'll be scared of you. Just saying that, are you okay? Why are you shouting at? They were the ones who trained me.
No way.
So I grew up with, I had become an adult before I realized, oh my God, I think I have a problem because what is happening?
What is this?
What is this? Like, my friends are like, oh my God, Jaypee, you're a tout. I'm like, I'm not a tout. I'm actually a sweet girl with my brothers. And then my brothers, I had become, a tomboy before they realized, oh my God, I think we made a mistake. And then they were the ones who now called me. I said, Jaypee, are you sure you're going to have a boyfriend like this?
Can you imagine?
I said,
so now you guys want to make me a girl.
Now that I'm an adult. So yeah, I'm not loud from a bad place. It's just my bold, assertive nature. But I'm actually a sweet teddy bear. Like, I'm actually very soft. I'm so sensitive. I cry very easily. I don't even get mad. I'm just a baby. I feel like those are the 2 major things that I wanted to clear because it was going on. I feel like from the very first night, because I came out and I saw some tweets that I did back as to the first day of the show, and they're like, she doesn't get along with the female species, Abby. Females will not vote for her. Don't let her brothers vote for her. I'm like, oh my God, no, I didn't mean it this way. So yeah, those 2 things majorly.
Okay, great. Things. So now let's come to the pairing. That pairing, I wasn't shocked.
I wasn't either.
I wasn't shocked because I mean, if they were to leave the South Africans and the Nigerians, so I knew that there might be a balance out. So when it happened, I was like, wahala. So now my question to you is, what were the things that you liked and what were the things that you did not like about the pairing?
Okay. Like you said, when the pairing thing happened, I wasn't shocked. Because the first week there was a fake nomination session and there were, Nigerians nominating South Africans nominating Nigerians.
Right.
I personally nominated one South African, one Nigerian, because I thought it was the common sense thing to do.
As a balanced person.
Yes. I was even thinking that Big Brother was going to tell us to do that, but I feel like Big Brother wanted to test us and see what we were all going to do. So I nominated one Nigerian, I'm like, it just makes sense so that we are balanced out at the end of the day. But then I saw that it wasn't balanced, and then there was a little bit of a rift. South Africans were talking, Nigerians were talking. So I expected Big Brother to do something. I thought maybe he would now say, okay, every week, nominate South African, or maybe he would pair us together and say you people have to be friends. Or when I just heard, if they get a strike, you get a strike. If they get disqualified, you get disqualified. If they ask to leave voluntarily, you leave voluntarily. If they fall sick and they have to go home, you fall sick and go home with them. I say, Big Brother, my 5 years of auditioning. So that was the shocking part, but I knew something that was going to happen. What did I like? I remember telling you that I felt like the pairing thing kept me grounded. Because prior to the pairing, I didn't really have friends in the house. I was somewhat of a loner. You would always see me by myself, sleeping. But as soon as I got a partner, I got a friend. I'm not even going to lie about that. Shout out to Luke. Luke was an amazing partner to me. He was a big brother, and I feel like we're one of the best peers in the house. Funny thing is that before the pairing, Luke was the only person I'd had an altercation with in the house.
Right.
In fact, I'd had 2 altercations with him. Altercations where we were changing for each other. People were like, oh yeah, calm down, calm down. So when they paired us together, everybody's like, well, this is about to be a movie. Let's see how this goes down. But the good thing is, I always call Luke an old wise man. He's very mature. And then I don't like conflicts either. So even the times we had altercations, we had walked up to each other after the altercations to apologize to each other. So as soon as we were paired, I knew that we're not going to have a problem. I knew that we were going to communicate effectively.
Right.
So I like that I had a friend. I like that I had somebody who had to look out for me.
Right.
I like that I didn't have to do everything by myself, the task, all of that. So in the house, the pairing wasn't a problem for me. The only thing that I didn't like about it was that I knew that if anybody had beef with my partner, they would nominate us.
Obviously.
So I'm like, no matter how great I am in the house to anybody, if Luke offends anybody at any point,
you gotta.
And I heard a couple of times when they'll say, hey, see this thing that Luke said. I'm like, oh my god, partner, you need to chill though. And then when I got out, I realized why I hated the pairing without even realizing that I hated the pairing. But I'm not gonna say more than that. Just
let's just leave
just
it at
dissect
that.
from that statement what I just said. So yeah. But it was more pros than cons for me. But I feel like in the long run, the disadvantage was way huger than all the pros.
Right.
All the pros rather.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You're tuned into Jollof Now on Radio Now 95.3 FM. My name is Doris, and today I have with me in the studio one of the Big Brother Titans housemates, Jaypee, like I call her.
There we go again.
Let's go on a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're tuned into Jollof Now on Radio Now 95.3 FM. My name is Doris, and I have with me in the studio Big Brother Titans housemate, Jaypee. Jaypee, just get used to it, okay?
I thought you weren't going to call it that way this time.
No, it's just what it is, to be honest. It's just what it is. So, yeah, just manage with me, please.
Okay.
So, let's continue this out into because I have some Bono Feli questions to ask,
okay? Keep it coming.
So, this is where it's coming.
Okay.
Now, most times, I know that the Big Brother housemates, you go into the house with some expectations of, oh, when I come out, hopefully I'm this, hopefully I'm that, hopefully I have a fan base. My question to you now is, coming out of the house, have those expectations been met, if you had any?
I like to say that I'm a very realistic person. I'm extremely realistic. So, whilst everybody's thinking Big Brother is a magic potion that once you drink it, you're skyrocketed to fame and all of that, I've always known in my mind that it can't be that easy. Nothing good ever comes easy. And in fact, when things come easy, it scares me. So the entire time I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to go into the house and just come out all made and stuff. I was scared. I'm like, what if I win that money? I go into the house dead broke. I come out the owner of 45 million naira. How am I supposed to live? Like,
right.
It's just strange. Like, I'm used to people working hard, putting in the work, going from stage to stage, hustling, auditions. I'm like, I'm just going to skyrocket. So I had a realistic expectation. So, yeah, I did have some expectations. Were they met? Not completely. However, the realistic part of me is not at all surprised.
Okay.
Like, because it wasn't just magic for me. This was something that I really needed. I wasn't just looking for fame. I wanted to be successful. This was something I needed to do that I figured would make life somewhat easier. So what I did was talk to people in the industry, talk to people who have been in the spotlight.
Yes.
So I had a realistic expectation. I thought of the timing. I thought of everything that I feel like many other people wouldn't have thought of. So I had expectations. They weren't completely met, but even though they are not met, not met yet. Yeah, maybe the timeline. Yeah, I think that the only issue here is the timeline. It's not like they haven't been met or they wouldn't be met or they haven't been met as much as I want it to be, but I feel like it is the timeline. Great. But I've always been a person for time and season, and I'm like, I'm not surprised. So yeah, that's how I'm going to, just say it. That's how I feel about it.
So now coming out of the house and watching the clips, right? What has shocked you so far?
Is this about myself? Is this
about yourself? About maybe people you thought were your friends or people you thought were not so close to you and maybe they were sticking up for you? Let's hear it.
Okay. I'm not going to lie. For starters, I felt like I had people in mind who I thought were putting me up for eviction. I came out and I saw that they had never put me up for eviction. That shocked me. That blew my mind. Like, there's this person that I wonder if she hasn't even seen a clip of me telling people that I know she nominated me. I'm going to nominate her back. Like, I'm like, hasn't this girl seen this clip? Because I feel like she's going to come for me and say, Jaypee, you that I thought of you as my sister. Because in my head, I'm like, nah, there's no. I was talking about that partner. We're going to nominate this person. I'm sure she has been putting herself for nominate for it. So that really shocked me. And then those that I thought that, nah, this is my sister. Like, these are people that my partner and I said, look, till the day we leave this show, we would never ever put them up. There are people who I told Luke, if I got to the end of the show and I had to take somebody to the finale with me, this is the person I'll take. Or if I couldn't win this money and I wanted somebody to win this money, this is the person I'll give this money to. And then, you get out and you just see that, so you and your partner nominate.
I would.
I'm waiting for them to come out. So me, I'm going to do my own reunion before the reunion.
Please. Because when you're doing it, let us know. So
I'm going to call round table.
Say round table.
Yeah, so I'm going to sit everybody down. I cannot even know for that. I don't even know how the reunion is going to happen. As I come out, I'm just putting calls through. Wow, babe. There's even one I'm going to call her. Thank you for reminding me. She just sent me a number. It's the once I leave here, I'm going to call her. Because when I left the house, she was crying, and she nominated me, and she's my babe. But that's by the way. No, don't worry. But yeah, those were the things that shocked me, actually. I feel like those were the things that really shocked me.
No, to be honest, Metro, please make sure that all the cameras are ready to go, okay? Just in case we need to follow Jaypee everywhere she's going.
Yes.
So Jaypee, you and a boo-boo. Was there something going on there? Were we supposed to be expecting J-boo-boo? J-boo-boo, hashtag J-boo-boo. You can't pass it for here. No, it's not possible.
Ebu is my very good friend.
He's your brother, Abby.
He's just
brother
a friend in Christ, do
you need tissue?
I think I need some water.
Let me give you tissue. Here. Because this one I'm wiping your nose. I don't get it.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I need you guys to know that Ebu...
She can't even finish her sentence. Wait.
You know what?
We don't know what, actually. That's what we're asking.
I don't know if you guys were to expect anything. Maybe if I had stayed longer in the house, maybe Ebu would have told me how he felt about me. Feels. Right? I don't know if he still feels it.
Right.
If he felt it. But nah, Ebu genuinely never verbalized how he felt to me. I'm telling you guys this for free. I know that a lot of people assume that I could tell from our closeness and stuff, but he never did. I remember there was this one time when we had this truth or dare game in the house, and somebody asked him, how do you feel about Jaypee? And he said, I like Jaypee. Listen to this. After the game, I went to Ebubu and I said, Ebubu, you like me, but I have to hear this thing alongside 22 other housemates. Okay, can we have this conversation? Ebubu goes, no, don't worry. I don't want to have the conversation. So I'm like, okay. Literally, I told this to Lawrence after when I had my exit interview. I said, maybe he just felt pressure to say that during the game. Maybe he doesn't like me because I feel like since I went up to him to ask him, or maybe he was shy.
Right.
Although I did see a clip a couple weeks ago where he was telling Kosi that he liked me, but he just wasn't confident enough to tell me right there and then in the house. So whilst I was in the house, if he still wasn't as confident, I don't think we would have been expecting a J-Boo ship whilst I was in the house, because he didn't.
But now that you're out, I mean, we can still hope for a J-Boo. Fingers crossed. Well, let me cross my fingers. J-Boo, I'll be your head shipper. In fact, let me open an Instagram page when we're done with this interview. Okay. So my next question is: you mentioned the fights, right?
Yeah.
I know you fought, like you had a lot of, fights here and there, and in my mind, I'm like, yikes! Is this a script? Because sometimes, we've seen housemates go on and on, do stuff like that. We've seen the CCs and attachers. So in my head, I'm like, okay, is this a script to, get the viewers excited? Is this a script to get the cameras on you more? Or was it genuinely the fact that they had pissed you off, you were pissed, they had to have it?
Okay. First off, Jaypee doesn't fight. Like, I genuinely cannot stand conflict. I hate it with a passion. So if I get to a point where I have to verbalize how I'm feeling, trust me, they had pushed me to the freaking limit.
Right.
And the first day when we met and we were introducing ourselves, I told them, like, look, I'm very sensitive. Like, I'm a very sensitive person. I just like peace. If you give me peace, I'm going to give you back peace. And for a long time, I really did try to hold myself back from losing my temper or anything. My altercations with Luke, I promise you, there was no way those altercations could have been avoided, because one was a game and I am a sore loser. And I also say it, Luke, our egg did not drop. It was the boys versus girls game. And Luke was supposed to monitor the girls and say if our egg, if we touched it, we didn't touch this egg. So yeah, if it's something I had to do with the game, if I feel like I was lied against or something, I'm going to, talk about how I'm feeling. And because my voice is very bold, sometimes aggressive. It comes off like I'm mad, like I'm angry. But sometimes I'm not even angry.
You're just
I'm
trying
hurt.
to get across your point.
Yes, I'm actually very hurt. There was one time that they took my beer in the fridge. Hi, Melly, you owe me a pack of beer.
And I like the way you're dropping names.
Yes, so
with your full chest.
With my full chest.
I love it.
Melly and Luke. That day, actually, I was shouting, but I was actually crying. I'm just surprised that people didn't see that. Melly said that I was crying, and was why he left me alone. Right. So that's how you know that I'm not angry. I was actually hurt. But because I don't know how to talk calmly, my voice is always loud. But I feel like for all of us, not even just me, I feel like for all of us housemates, whenever fights happened, bro, those fights were genuine. Because like I'm in that house, I could tell when tempers were flying. I could tell, at least the ones that happened whilst I was in the house, they were genuine fights. Nobody did it for the cameras on us. It was like, you pissed me off, you're going to have it today. So yeah, it was just,
but every bash there must be a boost.
That's what it was.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, earlier you had mentioned something about, especially for you, who you're not very, feminine, there was a conversation, right? The South Africans were talking. Meli, Ipilang, Tatsi, I think, and Luke.
I just knew I was going to hear Luke in this thing.
Right, Luke was sprinkled right in there, and we were talking about the Nigerian female housemates and how the fact that rather that they wear makeup and they always dress. And I remember him saying, "Oh, that the South African ladies look good without doing all of that." What can you say about that? Because we, the Nigerians, we are, aside the fact that we know how to catch crews, right? We're very open-minded. We're very fashion-forward. So if you look through all our own big brother, that's BBN, you'd see that there's always been the fashions, okay? It's a thing, right? It's a thing. I know that some people go in there to use it as an avenue to get more camera time or screen time. Yeah. But like Nigerians generally
love fashion.
Just love fashion. Yeah. Do you think that, or let me just ask you plain and simple, what are your thoughts on that conversation that he had?
So before I went into the house, I met a couple of South Africans. Like when I got to South Africa, before I went into the house, I met a couple of South Africans, like a few ladies, like 2 or 3. And then they saw one of my wigs. I was like, oh my God, your wig is so lush. What, are you joking? This wig is fire. I'm like, well, this wig
is ordinary.
If you see the wigs that I'm sure that my housemates would bring. So I realized there and then that South Africa was not where we were with fashion. No offense intended. Like, this is just facts. Like, then I showed them a couple of our videos, our wedding parties, and they were like, what? I showed them somebody's housewarming party, and they were like, "What?" So I realized before I went into the house, I was genuinely curious to get to know this other culture. Do you get? So I expected that reaction. I think it was a fashion shock for them.
Right.
This is not what they are used to. I don't think they meant, this is not me defending, this is my thought, like you asked. I don't think they meant any offense. Like, it was a freaking culture shock for them. They were stunned. In Luke's words, Luke would say, "Where are we going to? Like, we're waking up to walk around this house."
Just bath and
do you
be
get
about
it?
your day.
So it was a culture shock for him. It was,
Right.
if you notice, I feel like there was only one South African or two who put on makeup every day.
Right.
And that was because of the field. One of them was a model before the show. So that didn't surprise me. She came in with an entire makeup box.
Right.
So I was not surprised. That person was a very fashion inclined. She was a journalist. So I understood that her work would have made her get used to doing makeup all the time. But the other four girls were students, and so I could understand that. But for Luke, he continues to blow his mind every day. That is why I don't use makeup every day. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm getting up to walk around this house. That Big Brother's house was one straight line. From the garden to the kitchen to the lounge to the room to the bedroom. It's literally one straight line. I'm not sure why I should do makeup. So I think it was just a culture shock. Do you understand? Like, he would say that they look beautiful without the makeup. He never insinuated that maybe they didn't look good without it.
Right.
He believed that they looked good. They believed that they looked good without it. They just wondered why they saw the need to always put it on.
Right. So it didn't come from a place of
I don't think it was a bad thing. No, it was just culture shock for them.
Okay, so generally, how would you describe your experience in the house?
It was free, as in there was free food.
I love it for you! Free food.
My sister, there were free sanitary pads.
No
I
way.
would do anything to go back. If I had known that they were going to evict me, I would have packed all the sanitary pads that was inside that place. Sanitary pads, toiletries. I feel like every diary session, I always say, "Big brother, thank you for the toiletries." Like, every day, because it was blowing my mind. Because I know how stressful it is to just go out every day, and I'm obsessed with toiletries. I just love deodorants. I love skincare. So it was just nice to every day just open that box and you just see everything. We could never exhaust it. Like, I was even planning that if I had made it to the last day, I think I did it on the last day where everybody tells you to empty the house. I'm like, I'm gonna pack, but look at me now. But yeah, it was, the free things were very nice. I'm not even going to lie. It was just nice to not have to worry about anything.
Right.
It was nice to be away from reality. I'm not going to lie about that. It's just nice to just disappear for a couple of weeks and not think about what is happening in the real life, the troubles of the country. If you have personal issues, family, all of that, you're just away from all of it. It's a very good thing. The parties were nice. You get to go to parties. You don't have to buy drinks. You're not buying bottles. You're not doing dorime. You don't have to pay for Ubers or cabs or whatever to your parties. You just take a stroll to your party room.
Enjoy
Simple
yourself.
and soft. And then on some days you got free clothes, you got free outfits. All of that was nice. The gym was, even though I hated the gym, everybody knows I hated it. But maybe if I was still there now, maybe I would have loved this by now. But I think the experience was beautiful. I think it was fun. I think it was exciting. It's something that I'm really glad that I ticked off my bucket list, because I was certain that I wanted to do it. And now that I've done it, there's a sense of calm about me. And many other things that I didn't want to, that I was refusing to do before then, now I'm more willing and more inclined to do them. So yeah, it was a really fun experience.
Okay, so what was the most memorable time in the Big Brother house? Was there anything that stood out for you?
Not particularly. I like when I heard Big Brother's voice for the first time. I'm like, oh my God, that's his voice right here. Yeah, I like one time when people that gave me an advice. I'm not going to say the advice, but that was really sweet. But yeah, I did like the tasks. I really loved them, which is weird, but those are that's one of the things that I missed the most. It pushed me. Being in the house made me realize that I was a lot more than I thought that I was. Like, I'm way smarter. I could be my own cheerleader. So I liked all the times in the house that pushed me. Like, for me, the memorable times weren't the fun times, weren't the parties. It was the times that tested Jaypee, because before the show, I was somebody who would barely do things without my friends in my ear or my family in my ear. I was used to getting, oh, it's fine, you can do it. No, you're doing okay. But in the house, there was nobody. I had to tell myself that I looked good. I had to tell myself that I was making the right decision. I had to tell myself. So it was really nice to see myself being pushed. I love the task. I love the last HOH game we played, the one where I almost won and then I didn't win. I feel like it was the most memorable for me, because it might seem, very minor, but little things just push you, make you realize that you could have done something very well. Because I suck at throwing and catching. But the fact that I threw that egg back and forth for like 12 rounds and I did it. So I feel like memorable times in the house are the times where Jaypee was there for Jaypee.
Right.
Without anybody else in Jaypee's ear. The times when, there's the time when I talked myself out of a panic attack all by myself.
Wow.
Like, it was done, and then I went to tell Luki, oh my God, I almost had a panic attack. Like, why didn't you call me? I'm like, well, I need to learn how to do this by myself. So I locked myself in the changing room, the dressing room, and like talk myself. I'm like, Jaypee, you would not have a panic attack. You would not freak out. You would not cry.
Would you like to was it like right now? Because we don't see, with the viewers, we don't see everything.
Yes.
So I never saw that.
Yes.
Right? Because I watched the show. So what do you think must have triggered the panic attack?
Right now, I can't remember what exactly triggered that, but I know it was a build-up of emotions. It's not as easy as we think in that house. I'm not the only person who saw the need, who craved talking to a family member. I remember somebody was telling me, oh my God, I want to talk to my best friend so bad. I would do anything to talk to my best friend right now. I remember one time I kept saying, if I could just get a 30-second call with my mom. Like, I don't need to be a secret call. Like, I could have the call control. I just want to talk to her. I just want to hear something. And then at some point I was starting to have a couple nightmares. It was just crazy. I feel like it was a build-up of emotions. I think everything just got too much. And I knew when it was about to happen. I think we're all at the lounge/kitchen, and I just got up and I just walked into the dressing room like, Jaypee, no, you would not do this. I remember that one of my friends told me before I went to her, like, Jaypee, you're not crying on that show. If I see you come and meet me here.
If
you do any of my period menstrual cramps, if water drops from I say Jesus Christ.
It's a threat for me.
Because they know I'm a baby. They're like, Jaypee, not one drop of water. Do you hear me? If you're having period cramps, go and lie down. That's the first week I slept a lot. I was on my period.
Right.
So every time the cramps just come, I just go and lie down once. So I said, before I start crying like this, I'm going to go and sleep. So yeah, I can't remember what triggered that. I remember that something happened that triggered it, but I can't remember what it was. But I know that it was a build-up of emotions, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I just walked into the dressing room, I talked myself. I'm like, no, Jaypee, you would be strong. You would be strong. So yeah.
Nice.
I feel like it was those moments where I had to talk to myself that were the memorable times for me.
Okay, great stuff.
Then I love the parties.
Of course you do.
I'm a party animal. I love the parties.
Okay, so Jaypee, what's next for you? Any plans in the works that you could share with us?
Okay, so I was a nurse before the show. Shout out to all the nurses worldwide. I was a nurse before the show. I mean, I'm still a nurse, but I practiced as a nurse before the show. I went to work every day and all of that. But I feel like I'm going to put that on hold for a little bit. By that on hold, I mean working in a hospital on hold for a little bit. Although I miss it so much. No, I didn't think I was going to miss it because it's so stressful. But sometimes I go and meet my friends and I start giving them CPR. My friend is like, I'm not dead. If you want to work in the hospital, go back to the hospital and give them CPR there. I don't want this. So yeah, I feel like somehow I might eventually have to find a way to do something that is nursing, that is medical. I have to somehow find a way to marry my brand with that part of me because I genuinely love being a nurse. So eventually I have to do something. It could be a health talk, it could be a private practice, just something. And then the fact that I'm very expressive and I'm very liberal makes it easy for people to talk to me and stuff like that. So I would eventually do something that has to do with my career so that I can help people as I would always have wanted to. Then before the show, I've always been a fragrance. I've been crazy about fragrances, anything scents, basically, perfume, scented candles, diffusers, just anything that is fragrance-wise. So I think that I would stick to that a lot. I would, go large on fragrances, scents, all of that. My line, things that belong to other people. And then I like to do anything that has to do with talking. I really do love to talk. I think I do a great job at it. So it could be radio, it could be TV, it could be a podcast, speak, a talk show, anything. Maybe event hosting. I love things like that. A little bit of acting.
Okay.
So yeah. Just, it will be mostly entertainment and then a little bit of the medical field that's in my body.
All right. Thank you so much, Jaypee, for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You're tuned into Radio Now 95.3 FM. This is Jollof Now. My name is Doris, and I had in the studio with me Big Brother Titan housemate, Jaypee, for the very last time on air. All right, let's go on a quick break, and we'll be right back. Do not touch that dial. Keep it locked on Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos.